the guy who is blocked, how he falls. Because the player from Tennessee fell forward instead of sideways or back as Oregon comes out for offense. But that was a good call because the Tennessee defender fell forward.
Marcus Mariota, the first quarterback in school history to rush for over 100 yards in 2 consecutive games. 4 wide receivers. They'll throw on first down underneath, and is it complete? It is. Up at the 24. Now they say no. Intended for Braylon Addison, who had a good game against Virginia. Justin Coleman on the coverage.
Addison was looking for a pass interference on Justin Coleman, but it looked to me like Coleman got there right about the same time as the ball. I think that was a good no call.
Marshall, the running back. They fake it to him and throw over the middle and hit their tight end Johnny Munt, who makes his first catch of the year. There's a situation for Oregon. They have Colt Lyerla, the tight end, normally the starter and just a tremendous athlete. For an unknown reason, he is not with the ball club today. At least he wasn't 45 minutes ago.
That was Jake Fisher, the right tackle, who got 5 yards for flinching.
Second penalty against the Ducks. It's 3rd and 8. Got 4 wide receivers. Good protection from Mariota over the middle and incomplete to Thomas. Janine has more on Colt Lyerla.
Well, Mike, I do not see him out here on the Oregon sideline, and Oregon officials are telling me that they had 6 players.
Tackles as the running back is held up. Malone did a wonderful job of pulling it out.
DeAnthony Thomas with all that speed can't turn the corner, and there is the tackling machine, A.J. Johnson, the middle linebacker, who was 4th in the country last year with 138 tackles. He led the Southeastern Conference with that number. Preseason first team all-conference Southeastern Conference. Second and 9. Little swing pass to Huff. Huff takes it near the sticks. And where they're going to mark it, he is going to have a first down at the 20.
And here goes Oregon, super fast. That's the hardest part of defending them, is they change their tempo. Now going fast. Tennessee seems to be lined up okay.
Fake to Thomas. Pass over the middle, incomplete, intended for Huff. Good coverage there by LaDarrell McNeil, who started as a true freshman. A lot of youth in the secondary.
And that was a lot of that had to do with the secondary had the call. They were completely aligned. Oregon doesn't do a lot of shifts in motion, and that time McNeil was able to read his keys. Good jump on the ball to break it up.
Mariota fakes the toss. Looks for the end zone and just overthrown. Darrell Hawkins may have gotten a fingertip on it, but he was pretty well covered by Cameron Sutton.
Excellent job by Tennessee. They just ran on 4 new defensive linemen. They are without Maurice Couch, suspended for this ball game, so their depth issue, but they got guys in.
Mariota is 2 out of 7 to start this game, and that was the question mark for this club. His completion percentage down from a year ago, although he's had some drops, but he has not looked sharp coming out here.
Numbers are way down, and in fairness, he had a bunch of drops last week against Virginia. Most of his throws had a couple stories around him here has been the percentage, completion percentage for Marcus Mariota. He had a throw earlier that we missed that had been tipped on the line of scrimmage that looked inaccurate, but his feet look good. His timing looks okay. He seems to be stepping into his throws. Just right now, the ball getting away from him. In studying him last week and this week, he does have his feet can be a little late to readjust for his throws, but so far I haven't seen that. Just been the ball's floated on him a little bit, it looks like. Maybe the tip is up or some little mechanical thing.
Mariota that time really just standing flat-footed from where he caught the ball, threw it incomplete.
This defense for Tennessee was atrocious last season. One of the best offenses in the country. Lost a tight end and 2 receivers to the NFL, but this defense is playing so much better than they did a season ago.
Thomas swallowed up by that front wall, and particularly Daniel McCullers at 6'5", 351.
McCullers, a guy who spent a little while close to 400 pounds during his time at Tennessee. A lot of people got a rude awakening when Butch Jones and his off-season calisthenics program came in. A lot of weight was lost on the front line for the Volunteers during the offseason.
He's going to be a force. They're trying to double team him. Mariota down the sideline. Addison. This is the guy they are so excited about out of Missouri City, Texas. They think he can be just a tremendous playmaker. He is already a tremendous blocker. That was a gain of 38. They go with a hurry up. Thomas. And this is the same action they got on the inside runs last week against Virginia. There's nothing there.
Mariota with a great throw. There was a safety over the top. The corner Coleman was lagging behind, but we talked to Coach Helfrich yesterday about running the ball inside, and Scott Frost, the offensive coordinator. Oregon will continue to do it because it does make you respect it. So even if they don't get any yardage, they're trying to set something else up.
Mariota down the sideline inside the 5. He started this game averaging 26.1 yards a rush. 26-1.
He just hurt his average.
He only got 20 on that one.
But this is where this offensive line excels. They're not great at getting big push, especially against the big physical defensive line. But when they get outside, they're awfully athletic.
Mariota pounces on the fumble. You know, if you're a defense, you just have to be scared to death. You've got both Thomas and Mariota in the backfield.
Not a great snap by Hronis Grasu, the veteran center, but looked like Mariota should have been able to handle that. Burnt a down.
2nd and goal. Mariota in trouble. McCullers got there first, spun him around, and then Marlon Walls gets the sack. But McCullers deserves part of the credit.
McCullers does a wonderful job of keeping his feet as he goes down. Excuse me, that's Salisbury, not McCullers. Another big body in there for Tennessee who was not on their depth chart.
Traveris Salisbury, number 96.
Very similar in size. So this is a guy we did not expect to play. I mentioned that Mo Couch is not here. So getting some depth guys some time, trying to keep him fresh.
And they'll whistle this one dead. Looks like a delay. No, they got the timeout first.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock, timeout. Oregon, their first of the half.
Oregon's been really sloppy so far, Ed. The little mistakes, and it's hurt them.
And as the competition level goes up, and I look at this Tennessee team, and I know a lot of people around the SEC think, oh, they're gonna be lucky to get 3 wins within conference, and if they break 500, it'll be a miracle. After watching them and seeing their schedule, I know it's tough coming up, but 7, 8 wins, I think Tennessee has that in them.
Tough is not the word for their schedule. Yeah. Interstate rivals will square off tonight on ABC Saturday Night Football. Brian Kelly takes the Irish to face the Boilermakers. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows tonight at 8 Eastern. Second time Oregon has been deep in Tennessee territory. Empty backfield from Marcus Mariota. Thomas. What a block on the outside. Now they're going to call that a hold on Keenan Lowe.
This is a sloppy-looking Oregon team. They had their moments of sloppiness last week, but this is becoming a new low for unforced errors.
If I'm Tennessee, I'd decline this.
Yeah, I would too. I would put the punter or the kicker right out there for sure.
This is the last team on earth you want to get another shot.
No, even if you back them up 10.
Yeah, what's 3rd and 20? Big deal.
Gives them the ability for 2 shots at the end zone.
Block back towards their own goal line. Offense number 64. a 15-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Tyler Johnstone, the big left tackle, the Outland Trophy candidate, and you cannot block low coming back from the outside.
This is one of those safety rules. You cannot go back towards your own end zone. So Oregon's end zone is behind them. That was a good call there. That play used to be illegal, but now they're saying when an offensive player is going back towards their own goal line or back in towards the ball from the outside, they're now calling that a penalty. And in Tennessee, smartly here, I agree with you, Mike, declining this penalty.
And Johnstone has no one to blame but himself because he missed the initial block to set that up.
And Jordan Williams, the guy he's going against, has been very active. They give him a little bit of a free rush inside. So Oregon, because of the declined penalty, deciding to go for it here on fourth down. I've got a very aggressive call. Why not for Oregon? They feel like they can score all the time. Now, if you're Tennessee, you better be worried about Mariota with the ball in his hands on the edge because he can really run. I think he'd be coming here to his right.
5 wide receivers, 3 to the near side. Mariota looks this way, throws underneath, touchdown to Anthony Thomas. When they've got the football, Ed, they fear nothing. They fear absolutely nothing. They'll go for it. What the heck?
Pass interference. Offense, number 11. 15-yard penalty. Replay, fourth down.
They're going to call Braylon Addison for offensive pass interference.
And it's a great call. It is absolutely the right call. This is a clear-out route. Watch Addison right here. He has he puts his hands inside. That's absolutely the right call. I know the fans are going nuts, but that was a runoff by Addison, not even intending to run a route. This Pac-12 crew got it absolutely right.
That was on that return for Oregon. Marshall is in at running back. Huff also number 1 right now in the backfield, but he'll go in motion. And they'll throw it to Huff. Got a block on the outside. Fumble. And Tennessee's got it. Brian Randolph, the safety, knocked it away, and Cameron Sutton pounced on it.
Not so sure this is not going to get looked at. Mark Helfrich was just looking up at the Jumbotron to see. This looked to me like Huff, like the ball is not coming out. That's not a fumble. So this will be reviewed. If not, I think Mark Helfrich will call the timeout and use a coach's challenge. But that ball's not moving. Yeah, and when the forearm hits, the player is down. So this is going to be.
The ruling on the previous play of fumble is under further review.
So Oregon really catches a break there. It looked like they had coughed it up.
They're lucky. They don't have a turnover yet in their first 2 games in a little more than a half a quarter. But this one awfully close. But I think this is indisputable video evidence that this is not a turnover.
That's some really good looks at it, too. That he's in complete control of it until his hand hits the ground, the hand in which the ball is. So that's the delay is in looking at this is checking the spot. They also have to look at the clock and move it back a couple of seconds. So it gets a little complicated.
So it'll take a little longer, which I think Tennessee wants. Take a little time, catch your breath.
It's a great timeout.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe get an orange slice or something, get you ready for the next play. But this, I think, is an advantage to a bigger, more physical team in Tennessee. There's no doubt when you put the film on for Tennessee. I don't care what they look like this year. This is still an SEC team. They may not be the Tennessee of the late 90s, but this is an awfully good group, I think, that Butch Jones. They may not have the offensive speed yet to compete in the SEC East, but they're sure playing hard.
Huff is just holding his breath, hoping that they rule it that he was down by contact. Doesn't want that turnover on his shoulders.
Tennessee is a team that last week against Western Kentucky set an NCAA record. They had 4 forced turnovers in 4 straight plays for the opposition. 5 out of a total of 6 plays.
I don't think anybody had ever seen anything like that sequence, and it took Western out of the game.
The ruling happening is the runner's elbow was down before the ball came loose. Therefore, the ball replaces the back stop. Second down. Please reset the clock to 4:17. 4:17. Thank you.
So as we speculated, they have changed the ruling. It will bring up second down from the 33-yard line.
And I think this was a huge break for Tennessee. If you're going to have to go back out on defense, you get a little bit of a break over the shock that you didn't cause the turnover.
Thomas got outside, takes it down to the 25-yard line. That should be enough for a first down.
That play was blown up about 3 times by Tennessee players, and he just continues to dip in and bounce out. He's quite special.
Got it again. I don't think defensively you can see how fast he is until you play against him, and then that may be too late.
And it's not just the speed. His ability to cut on one foot, dip in, dip out, you have to respect it.
They're going at warp speed now. Mariota, what a fake to get away. Throws to his wide open tight end, Johnny Munt, touchdown. Mariota made a fake. Darryl McNeil had him dead to rights, and it was, I'll see you later.
Nicely under Todd Graham last year. He's one of those coaches like Butch Jones with tons of energy, does a lot of work off the field as well as on. They're looking like they're getting better.
Thomas, not much running, or Byron Marshall, not much running room this time. Taken out of bounds. Still picked up 5 yards.
Isn't that amazing? That a 5-yard run just looks like it was a terrible execution play by Oregon.
They'll whistle this play dead. And it's going to go against the Ducks.
False start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's the 4th flag in the first quarter against Oregon. They were troubled by penalties a week ago. Still, as fast as they operate, I'm amazed they don't have a penalty every other play.
Well, one thing we were talking about with the coaches yesterday, because of the upswing in talent, they're able to recruit smarter players. They weed out people and say you may not be able to pick it up, so they've actually gotten faster.
Pass underneath to Lowe, and Lowe makes the catch and then is crashed as he gets to the 29-yard line. Cameron Sutton with the big hit. Third down about 3. Thomas cuts it inside, and Thomas showing some power there, dragging tacklers up to the 34. He's 5'9", 171, but he can get the job done, can he?
Excellent vision too. He's a guy you'd think you'd want to bounce this outside with his speed, but watch him, the little stutter, and then trusting that the blocks were there. That was a zone stretch block play to the right where the offensive line is just going in that direction. He had nice patience on that little stutter step.
Marshall comes in his stead. Mariota with time. Munt, the tight end. Midfield. 40. Still on his feet. Got a block. Stiff arm gets him inside the 10. Johnny Munt, a true freshman. 6'4", 232. Cameron Sutton just got shoved out of the way for a gain of 57 yards. And they are ready to snap it again. And the whistles blow.
The officials, they were trying to keep up
fast enough.
And Oregon smartly was trying to get a fast one in before the end of the quarter. Tennessee may have caught a break because the clock ran out.
Football at warp speed. This presentation of college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. First and goal for Oregon at the Tennessee 9-yard line. Now Mariota giving them the play that he got from the sideline. Option. Mariota. Touchdown. Well, pick your poison. If you've got Thomas or Mariota in the backfield, it's somebody you're going to be looking at the back of their jersey a lot.
And Tennessee had this defended perfectly. Jacquez Smith, the defensive end to that side, just coming back from thumb surgery. I'm not sure that the big...
And he knocks it through. Down 7-0. Oregon has responded with the next 17 points. Maybe even better than that. Thomas. Even when they bottle him up, he gets 4 yards.
He's a very slight young man. When we met with him yesterday, it was the first time I met him in person. He is not very big. He does not come. You know, there's a lot of kind of shorter running backs who have broad, wide shoulders. He's very lean, but has the ability. That patience on some of those inside runs is what gets scary because he's got the speed on the outside, obviously.
Thomas comes back in the backfield. They fake it to him, and then Mariota with a strike to Josh Huff. Nice throw, nice catch. Mariota's got a rhythm going now.
Huff, a guy who last year was injured, a little bit behind him, but Tennessee had a coverage guy coming from that side, so a safer throw, certainly back to the back.
Mariota had a tough start, only 2 out of 7. He's hit 6 of his last 7, though.
He's a very quiet guy by nature, so the coaches have been engaging him to get more involved with communication and talking to the players. But, boy, he has an even keel. When you talk to him and are around him, not much flusters him.
Fakes to Thomas. Over the middle again. Huff! Wide open! Touchdown! 54 yards. That was too easy. Same play they ran 2 plays ago.
Well, we'll take a look at the good hands play brought to you by Allstate. This is 3 receivers against 3 defensive backs. And as Josh Huff rolls off the line of scrimmage, he ends up in one-on-one coverage. Unfortunately, Ladero McNeil takes an outside technique. You cannot let a receiver cross your face. And when you end up in one-on-one coverage, you have to force him to either run through you or push him over the top. That, as you said, Mike, was just a...
Marshall picks up 5, maybe 6.
And this is where Tennessee's defense, I think, may start showing some wear and tear. They've been out there quite a bit. I mentioned that Mo Couch not here. Looks like a Tennessee defender is down. That looks like Dontavis Sapp, starting outside linebacker. They're already missing Kurt Magid, linebacker out with a knee injury suffered against Western Kentucky. But of course, Mo Couch, who was reported in a Yahoo Sports report that he received extra benefits, according to the report, from an agent. And so Butch Jones and the staff deciding to leave Mo Couch at home this week. So they're already down a defensive lineman, and now going against an offense that is starting to put its foot on the gas in Oregon. It looks like they may be down another linebacker in Dontavis Sapp.
Let's check in with Janine.
Yeah, and the Tennessee defense certainly doesn't need any more hits, guys. I can tell you what, they know that Oregon's MO is getting to the edges. They need to do a better job of walling off those edges, and Steve Stripling, the D-line coach, has been very upset with them not staying alert on every single play, like the play that saw Josh Huff score that touchdown. So he wants them to not take any more plays off.
Can't afford it against these guys. Mariota on the run. Munt, his tight end, who's already had a couple of big plays, and the big fella rumbles across midfield. 6'4", 232, a true freshman. He has 4 catches for 104 yards.
Getting all of this run because Colt Lyerla, the multi-talented junior tight end who plays everywhere, not here for an undisclosed reason, and Munt making the most of the opportunity.
That one overthrown by a half a step intended for Addison. Covered well by Justin Coleman.
And here Tennessee running in 4 new defensive linemen, doing whatever they can to get new bodies on the field. And Oregon looking almost leisurely on this drive.
Yeah. And Oregon gives you so few opportunities. A long, incomplete pass, one of the few. Tailback Byron Marshall out of San Jose, California, which is their prime recruiting ground for this program that has just grown and grown and grown. Now they are trying to sustain the level that they've reached, and an excellent level it is. Addison, flanker screen, can't stay in bounds, and I think they're going to get Josh Huff for a hold.
Well, that was one of those plays where Tennessee flat out did not line up. They had 1 defensive back over to cover 3 receivers. Mariota,
that's not good.
Mariota was so excited he couldn't get the snap fast enough to get it over there.
Holding. Offense, number 1. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Boy, was that late. Justin Coleman going over there. But Coleman does a wonderful job. Give Coleman a lot of credit.
Yes, sir.
He was completely out of position, but he played the play. He played it physically, and Huff ended up grabbing his jersey and throwing him to the ground. Nice job by 27 for Tennessee.
He's thinking to himself, it's me against them, huh?
He won.
Marshall.
And now for Tennessee, the bad news is you still have to stay out here. This is outside of the range of the 2 kickers for Oregon, Maldonado and Wogan. And so for Tennessee, and they go so fast. Here they go, ready to snap already. Don't know what they're going to do.
They don't even hesitate. Mariota wide open. Daryl Hawkins walks in. Wait for him to come back, then you can pop him again.
But when we were talking to Butch Jones, he and his coaches, when they were studying Oregon, they said, you start looking at the quality of this program and where it really shows up and how good they've gotten with their depth of talent is on their special teams.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of frontline guys. Because they're second stringers, especially on defense, play a lot of defense. They have guys with a lot of experience, and they can be very dangerous.
So Oregon backed up inside its 10. Mariota throws and complete to Addison. We check in with Janine.
Guys, if you watch Mariota between series, he's often sitting with the offensive line, listening to their coach, Steve Greathouse. He usually says very little. He might shake hands with his teammates, but that's about it. But I have never seen a quarterback sit between every series with the linemen. Coach Helfrich told us it's to help Mariota be more connected with his teammates because he's a very quiet kid, and they've actually had to prod him to speak to his teammates after every snap.
And it's something he's really working on. The rest of the stuff he's got, this time he's blasted in the backfield, knocked down. Corey Miller, number 80, the left defensive end, will get credit for the sack.
Mariota, very lucky he held on to that ball. Looked like he was going to go make a throw, but was able to tuck it back in.
Mariota sits in the pocket this time, throws underneath to Thomas. Look at all that room he's got to run. DeAnthony Thomas takes a hit out of bounds, no flag.
I'm not so sure you shouldn't throw a flag there on Cameron Sutton.
He's clearly out of bounds when he was contacted. Wasn't much, but he was clearly out of bounds.
Well, it was a little closer than I thought, actually. It was the first leg down out of bounds, but that's, you've got to keep your head up. We talk about safety all the time. Sutton ducks his head and really can't see what's going on in the play.
Mariota gets the defensive back to come up to meet him and then throws the perfect strike to Huff, who shows us he probably would be pretty good in the high hurdles.
How do you defend Mariota when he can do this? It looks to all the world looked like he is going full speed to get the edge. He reloads it and throws a strike. I would say the accuracy was pretty good on that throw.
You know, he was responsible for 38 touchdowns a year ago as he gives it to Thomas. Thomas waits on his blocker and then turns on the speed. Are you kidding? He's just trotting behind his left tackle, Tyler Johnstone, saying, come on, big fella, let's go. Let's get downfield and find somebody. Then he set up the block, and then he took off.
That looks inbounds to me the whole way.
Oh, boy.
Same thing last year.
They did the very, very similar move last week against Virginia to get into the end zone. This one, I don't think they're going to have to review or held because, unfortunately for Tennessee, one of their defensive linemen is down. I think he's as good when he's slow as when he's fast.
Oh, I do too.
He has that ability where you're not sure what gear he is in. There was no way he should have gotten the edge and the sideline there. But it was the slowdown waiting for Johnstone and his block
that
really made it happen.
Down on the play. The one thing I think is going to hurt Mariota and Thomas when it comes to national recognition is they're not going to play any fourth quarters. They may not play most of the third quarter. It's going to hurt their numbers, and yet when they're in there, they are unbelievable.
The numbers won't get to, remember Johnny Manziel's numbers last year?
Yes.
He played, I forget the more number of snaps than Marcus Mariota because they were in every game and Manziel had to play to the end. So no doubt those numbers may hurt.
Well, here in this half, Mariota 350 yards so far. Thomas has 81. Huff has 116, and Munt, the tight end, has 104. We'll take a break. 1:19 to go before the half. We'll check on the Tennessee injury when we come back.
You know, the idea of playing the next play, it's almost like Oregon has taken that to another level. Their players just seem completely in control all the time. You just don't see guys lost or confused. There's just a really bright team.
Straight drop. Mariota completes to Hawkins, and Hawkins will have enough for a first down at the Tennessee 44.
Talking to Mark Helfrich yesterday, and he mentioned the last 5 recruiting classes that the Ducks have brought in. Every single member of all 5 classes has qualified academically. That's unheard of. Usually there's 2 or 3 guys. Over a year or two, you're going to have 2 or 3 guys that don't qualify. Go 5 straight years is pretty amazing. Shows the quality of people that this program is able to go out and recruit now.
And it's great from an academic standpoint, but it's also great from a football standpoint. Because if you run the offense the way they do, you've got to have smart people who can absorb what they're trying to do on offense. And they have to be really fast on the uptick.
You think about it. If you're playing wide receiver for Oregon and you go out and you run a long route, you have about 13 to 17 seconds to do a bunch of things. See the play coming in, understand what your coaching point is, looking at the defense to see if it's going to change, and then right before the snap realizing, oh yeah, now I have to go really fast. They ask a lot of these young men, and it is really impressive to see how well they do it.
Blitz coming. Mariota runs out of trouble. And then some. And to further emphasize your point, it's going so quickly on offense, at least they know what the call is. If you're a defensive player, you don't know where they're going to go. You've got 13 seconds to get back to where you're supposed to play defense. Look to the sideline, hope to get the call, hope to take a breath. And then you've got somebody like DeAnthony Thomas, who probably runs a 4.2, coming right back at you.
Yeah, and the Tennessee coaches, that's what they talked about, was the pre-snap confusion that Oregon is able to get the opponent consistently into a position where there's just that half a second of hesitation.
Mariota with the fake. There's Munt wide open again. And the big guy rumbles into the end zone. Have a day, Johnny Munt. start. 5 catches, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He looks the part, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Catches the ball well, runs great after the catch. I think Munt will fit in nicely for the rest of the season. I would imagine 83 will be a part of the game plan going forward with his showing.
Now, we will be looking ahead to the rest of Oregon's schedule in this game and try to identify somebody that might be the real true test. We thought it might be Tennessee. Turns out it's not going to be. 45-7. That drive, their slowest of the day. It took them 2 minutes and 3 seconds to score.
We have the run outnumbered, but unfortunately you leave 2 to the other side. It's an automatic read for Mariota to come back to the wide receiver screen. So hard to defend.
Straight up the middle goes Byron Marshall.
And I think really that's one of the things that this offense and some of the other modern spread offenses has done, Mike. You can never come off of your guy. You may think it's going one way, but it may come right back to you. You know,
Huff knocked out of bounds.
Teams used to line up and you knew 2 or 3 places they were going to go with the ball.
Right.
You knew the receivers they were looking at. You knew where they like to run it out of those formations. And now you just have not a clue.
Mariota just became the first Oregon passer to go over 400 yards since Kellen Clemens did it in 2005. And we'll check in with Janine.
Well, Mike and Ed, that's only half the battle with Oregon is fighting their schemes. The other half is their tempo. You know, we joke about them making it difficult for us to get much in between snaps, but their coaches have the same problem. Offensive coordinator Scott Frost told me efficiency of communication is paramount. They'll adjust quickly between series, and then they will line up 7 or 8 plays in a row, and I'll finish after this.
Down to the 28 goes Marshall, the swing man out of the backfield. Back to you, Janine.
So they'll line things up like airplanes waiting to land, and once on the field, Frost will use play calls of only 2 to 6 words. But it's not just Oregon. The Tennessee coaches have simplified to 1-word calls for today.
And we have, I think, hit warp 9 at this point. And it's like 11. A face mask on top of it, and the only thing that does is give Tennessee a little breathing room. Yeah. You have to be so good on defense, and I'll go back to the point that
Personal foul, face mask, defense. That penalty will be enforced half the distance with the goal with an automatic first down.
So many defensive coaches, and the question I usually ask them is, how do you stop a really good, like this, spread offense? 4 down linemen who don't need any help to rush the passer. 4 corners, legitimate corners, guys who might have a chance to play on Sundays. And then you go get them. Who's got that?
Nobody. There's very few teams that... Everybody says if you could line up enough good athletes to play man, you can defend this. The problem is you just don't. I don't even know there's NFL teams that have that type of talent.
Well, Chip Kelly would say they don't.
Sure looked like the other night.
That pass intended for Lowe, broken up. Justin Coleman, good defense.
And boy, the Oregon fans took a lot of pride in what the Eagles did. They use a term around here called the Oregon way. And I was reading some of the local papers of how proud they were that the Oregon way seems to be translating. Now, I think he may have to slow down a bit with a 53, 45-man roster.
Around the corner, Marshall. Touchdown. The officials looking at each other, deciding, did he have his feet in? Did the ball get past the pylon? The answer is yes. Another touchdown. Yep.
Looked to me like he did. Brian Randolph got to be a little careful there. Didn't quite drop his head. Didn't look like he was targeting, but that could have been close. We know it's being called pretty cautiously this year.
Oregon rings the bell again. 52-7 over Tennessee.